Thank you very much, Paul, for the kind introduction. And thank you to everyone for turning up to listen today. So without further ado, that's an artist's rendition of Apollo Hill. It is a hill, sticks out the ground. It's good for our stripping ratio because the ore does surface there. And I'm going to talk to you about what we're doing to try and make this Australia's next brand new virgin gold operation. Located in the Leonora district, which has been the heart of, corporate activity of late, but also, I suppose, importantly on the map, some fantastic geology. One of Western Australia's best greenstone belts. We hold a central strategic land position of 1,000 square kilometres. Good road, rail, gas pipeline infrastructure, good gold infrastructure around us. 100% owned, and at the heart of that 1,000 square kilometre package is our 2.24 million ounce resource. And we'll come back to some of the regional exploration later in the presentation. Strengths on that slide, very strong cash position for a junior. We've kept a tight share base since listing. We have the blues on that graph on the bottom left are our institutions. We have around 50% institution on the register, if not more. Our EV per resource ounce has been growing, and you can see the sort of market cap appreciation and share price accretion there. And that little graph down the bottom right-hand corner really talks about our project valuation versus our company valuation, which means I can, hand on heart, say I'm undervalued. The asset itself, big, long life mine, strategic sized asset, outcrops at surface, and we should have probably put Collins Street on that slide rather than the Perth skyline, just to give you some feel for it, but that is true scale. It is a bulk mining asset, and that's our 2.24 million ounce resource, which is about 82% measured and indicated now as well. Another view, and really what I suppose the key point on that slide is, all our ounces are contained in one single, simple, low strip, 1.5 to 1, bulk mining, low unit cost, big selective mining unit pit. And that does differentiate us from some of our peers with similar resource bases that can be spread across several assets. And that ultimately translates to a lot better sort of options in terms of a more elegant mining schedule. Year on year, we've added ounces in, I suppose, I like to say reliable rather than predictable fashion. But also the gold bars there you see are getting bigger and bigger. That's the measured and indicated categories and the quality coming in with the drilling. And we've taken the time to grade control a certain percentage of that deposit to make it sure that the reconciliation keeps moving in the right direction or adds up. So I think quality probably the message there rather than quantity. Take a slice through the earth there. So this is a typical cross section. We see a low strip ratio there. Well, not strip, actually, low waste ratio, because there is no strip. It does stick out the ground. We see several ore bodies. We see February's pit in 2024, and in black in 2025 this year. The blue pit was the one we've just released in July. So in 6 months, we've seen a 200,000 ounce addition, which has come in a bit more there. Some really good intersections in there which drove into a new area of the resource. The area internal in the pit, we added a lot of ounces as the ore zones in the infill drilling really pulled the ore body together. And later on in the presentation, we'll look at a new zone in the south that's really sort of added that fourth element to the growth position. So as well as the low strip, big wide mining zones that you've seen on that last section, about 100 metres wide. So this room might be sort of 20, 30, just in terms of think about mining that on a pit floor. We have a very simple, clean, efficient metallurgy. It's just gold grains, easily liberated and digested, free milling, no carbon, no copper, no arsenic, no preg-robbing materials, low reagent use. And on the left there, we approach this via heap leach because we get very good recoveries just by crushing the rock alone. We don't need to grind this up to really liberate or get the gold. And that, again, pushes the cost structure down on the asset. That translates under a heap leach, which accounts for about 46% of the world's gold production globally, mainly in the Americas, Russia, Turkey, and arguably the dominant form of gold production of a flat mining schedule of about 10 million tonnes for 10 years in our study, a flat grade schedule, and I guess what we'd really like to sort of emphasise here is an elegance or a simplicit elegance to the deposit, producing about 122,000 ounces per year. The cost is where we really differentiate ourselves. So, you know, this is a low-grade deposit. The grade of this thing's 0.51. But where heap leach starts to win, low strip, low processing costs. Our processing costs are about $11.50, something like that in the study. And that compares to, you know, milling, sort of the best of the best in this country is probably looking about $17. Our strip ratio is about 1.5 to 1, so it's a lot less waste moved, whereas a typical sort of mill style might bulk up at around 4 or 5. So we start to creep back on the grade. The capex for this is a lot more efficient as well, which we'll look at soon. But the real kicker here is, I suppose, in the margin. So at our highest sensitivity price in our PEA of 3,500 gold, we make revenue after taking the all-in sustaining cost away about $21 a tonne of rock. Not bad, not a bad margin. What's that? Australian dollars as well. The studies were done at 2,665 Australian, like half of where we are today, so the economics I'm pronouncing here. But the real kicker is it's a 10 million tonne per annum plant. So 10 million times 21 is $210 million free cash flow per annum. And that equates to some quite rapid payback and some really nice financial metrics. The numbers on the right, we're done at 2,665, or is it my right or your left, or maybe I need to turn around. Anyway, these ones, we're doing it at 2,665, and I think when we published this study 18 months ago, we're now in the PFS and about to update that, we kind of felt hand on heart, we were producing some bankable numbers in terms of payback under 3 years, $90 million free cash flow. On the left, at that highest sensitivity price, which we've surpassed, this is becoming $1 billion NPV project. And it really starts to look like a very attractive proposition. What do we compare it to globally? I think we've arrived in a sort of different space. They're some of the biggest, lowest cost producers in the world. Kinross's, Bald Mountain, Florida Canyon, SSR Mining's, Marigold. So really the point there on that graph is we're kind of equal to these guys in terms of grade, same processing method, the tonnes, the deposit size. These guys have probably got a higher strip ratio, maybe about 3 to 1, but they don't have to crush like we do. But all things being equal, I think we've definitely arrived in a pretty special space. Pre-feasibility underway. A lot of words on that slide, so I'll try and pick out some of the interesting ones. Caps Cassidy are the kind of heap leach experts from Reno, Nevada. We're well advanced. We've just finished our drilling for our inaugural ore reserve. We're bore field development. We've now got four bore fields right around the deposit permitted and our operating strategy plan admitted. So we're well on our way to deliver that in, we're hoping, November this year. Worth going back to exploration, we've seen some staggering results across the deposit. The numbers on the left, I think anyone would be quite happy with in terms of a sort of traditional deposit. The numbers on the right, more recently, kind of hidden within the ore body, we've seen some beautiful, 10s at 4s, 16s, and really starting to repeat with the 60,000 metres of drilling we've done. Down the southern end of the deposit, we started to see something quite special, and I think the market's taken up and sat up and taken a bit of attention recently. We're seeing a kind of classic footwall lode structure here, and some quite consistent and repeatable results pulling together, and some really, I think we put an ASX announcement out, a page of results, and they're all of this kind of tenor. And I think we're really starting to understand the architecture of this system. And really what's happened is one of the big structures in the geological structures has collided with another one, and we're seeing the extra gold come out. So let's have a look at that. So that's the iris zone we've just been looking at with a spectacular intersection, which has grabbed the attention. And I'm going to go back through history now. And one of my ex-colleagues drilled that back in 1998. In a much earlier day, shortly after listing, 2019. And really what you're looking at there, I suppose I like to make an analogy, it's the skeleton of the deposit. And what I'm pointing out, these intersections are really, I think we've got a liver there, maybe. Maybe that one's a kidney. We're still looking for the heart. But there's some patterns and some structure forming there that I'm really getting quite excited about, and at very different grades. Of course, around that, we have a lot of drill intersections. So there you can see the gold in the drill intersections. And when they bulk up into blocks greater than 0.2 because of the low-cost structure, we turn them into, if you remember that first picture where we just saw that one big bulk ore body. So it's just a different way of looking at it, and perhaps this is the muscles and the skin going back on the bones and the organs. But what I'm really excited about with those results is your geologist kind of goes and he drills along strike where that white arrow is. I'm going to step out of the way. Then he goes a bit further. Then he goes a bit further. But then we look at patterns like this coming through the ore body that we can now see. This was so good because this structure coming down here intersected with that footwall. There's another one. We see extensions to those structures. There's another cross-cutting structure which is now becoming quite predictable. I think it's going to intersect there. So really what's happening is we're seeing the patterns, and it helps us to really sort of think about where we're going to explore next. And I think there's a fantastic growth story still there for the deposit. And I think predictability in understanding and targeting, and perhaps really starting to pull the eyes out of this thing, has just gone up an order of magnitude. And on we go, and on we go, and on we go. And I think by the time I've finished, there's some very clear opportunities and potential there. And this sort of higher grade organ and skeleton end of the exploration story. That said, we still have that regional package. That's 1,000 square kilometres. There's 16 prospects there, which we found over the last 6 or 7 years. A couple of them are starting to get real legs, and we'll continue that regional exploration work. We've never really stopped drilling air core. Time to full-scale production, PFS end of sort of November this year, DFS October, financing agreement for what could be a very big strategic size mine in Australia in 2028. And we never turn the drill rigs off. We keep that exploration strategy going. Beyond that, as part of the pre-feasibility, we've also been looking at options where we do a sort of stage development. And I suppose the picture you're seeing there is kind of this pad is around 2.8 million tonnes in size, just as a guess. These are probably 1 million tonnes, which is, you know, 1/100th of the size of the big deposit. It's about a tenth. That would be about a tenth of the scale of annual production. And from that, you can kind of think about how the costs might structure. I think that there is a high gold price environment, and this could be a great journey. You know, every business, I suppose, wants a lower capital entry point. We're looking at these kind of things as contract crushing, contract gold circuits, and as I say, part of the PFS. And we've put permits in, I suppose, which is helping our permitting journey for the big one. And I think it's giving the thing a bit of a leverage and speed up. And beyond that, I've got 18 seconds left for questions. So thank you.